I returned to Texas to visit my beloved grandmother and the lush green ranch that had been the heart of my childhood. But what greeted me was devastation, heartbreaking and raw. Corn rows torn up, fences trampled and broken, and the worried-looking grandma's eyes said it all. The culprits? Wild hogs. It was time to act. One phone call, and my closest brothers-in-arms were on the road with me. This wasn't just about the ranch anymore. It was about protecting a legacy, standing our ground, and facing down nature at its wildest. Will experience and grit be enough to overcome raw instinct and chaos? Come along and find out. The sky hadn't even started to lighten when, after finalizing our strategy, we moved out toward the grassy plains bordering Grandma's cornfields. We spread out and took position at key vantage points. Tension was high, but in every I burned a fire of determination. Scanning the ground through my binoculars, I caught sight of a shadow moving below. A hog. Without a word, David expertly banked the chopper into a steep dive, the rotors screaming as we closed in. The distance vanished in seconds. I raised my rifle, locked onto the target as it bolted through the grass, and squeezed the trigger. The dark shape jerked, then collapsed into the green. A perfect start to a day that would test every ounce of our skill. I hadn't even caught my breath from the last shot when the ground began to shake again. A fresh herd burst onto the scene, turning the vast field into a frenzy of chaos. No signal needed. David yanked the controls and stayed tight on their trail. Cold sweat trickled down my spine, but my grip on the rifle stayed firm. I tracked each hog through the scope one by one and pulled the trigger with calm precision. These sharpshooting skills weren't honed for show. They were forged to be the strongest shield this land could ever have. The team pressed on, chasing the fleeing hog as it made a desperate dash toward the tree line, its last shot at survival. But that hope vanished the moment it entered my sights. No wasted motion. The bullet cut through the wind and boom, ended the escape before it ever had a chance. Reflexes and near-perfect precision, this wasn't just skill. It was the instinct of a seasoned hunter.
I'm telling you. Oh, big pig! Big pig! 9 o'clock! 9 o'clock! I got him! I got a whole pack of we're on a whole pack of pigs. I'm gonna try and run them to the field. Come my way, ground crew. Come my way. Oh, yeah, let's run the...
In a desperate move, one hog lunged headfirst into a pond. A quick ripple on the water, that was all we needed. We closed in fast, the red dot locked onto the target, and in a split second, the shot dropped it clean. The sweep unfolded at breakneck speed. In under 20 minutes, the field was littered with fallen shadows. But a few lucky ones had slipped through the net, bolting west toward the dry grasslands. I grabbed the radio without hesitation. "James, eyes up. You've got company incoming." following the tracks. We moved into the dry fields to close the trap with James, turning the entire area into a no-escape kill zone. Our coordination was flawless. The few remaining hogs had nowhere left to hide. Only one was still running, desperately. But I didn't rush. Steady breath. Calm mind. I waited for the perfect moment. And then crack. One final shot ended its destructive rampage for good.
That one had to have done it. Alright, let them have it.
Every trigger pull was no longer a reflex. It was a calculated move, because we knew that every threat taken down was a step closer to bringing real peace back to this land. At the end of the day, just as we were getting ready to fly out, a hog darted past, almost as if to taunt us. With lightning-fast reflexes, I raised my rifle and squeezed the trigger. It all happened in a matter of seconds, putting a perfect full stop on today's hunt. The success of this battle came down to thorough preparation, timely action, and seamless teamwork among brothers sharing one mission: to protect this land, its people, and their harvest. We returned into Grandma's warm embrace. Her joy wasn't just about the fields being safe, it was the relief in her eyes seeing us come back, unharmed. In this land, peace is something you fight for every single day, and there will always be more who need us. Hit subscribe so you won't miss the next journey. The cold winter air blanketed the hills of Turkey. As the first light of dawn broke over the ridgeline, our team gathered quickly to lay out the day's battle plan, a mission to stop the wild boars that had ravaged this land under the cover of night. These beasts had been tearing through fields and striking fear into the hearts of villagers, robbing them of sleep and threatening their upcoming harvest. Today, we weren't just hunters, we were protectors. Every step we took along that frosty hillside, every sharp glance through the scope carried one purpose: to track, contain, and eliminate the threat before more damage could be done. With our boots firm in the earth and our spirits locked in, the hunt began. This was no ordinary chase. This was war man versus beast. Dawn was breaking over the rocky hills of Paucek, Turkey. We tightened our gear, checked our weapons, and made sure our supplies were locked in, fully prepared for a long day of intense encounters across two completely different terrains. Mist still clung to the leaves as we moved forward, each firm step cutting through the silence like a warning. It was as if our presence stirred something from its winter slumber. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw John glance at me, then we both caught it. A shadow moving just ahead. Without hesitation, John steadied his rifle. Aim. Hold breath. Fire. Boom. The shot landed clean. The boar dropped instantly, crashing to the ground without a sound. That unexpected encounter felt like the land itself was greeting us, and it marked the beginning of what would be a promising hunt. We kept pressing forward along the hillside. By now, it was close to noon, the sun blazing down, the heat rising with every step. The wild boars were starting to show up in greater numbers. And then there they were. Across the slope, a whole group of them, lazily foraging without a care. My scope locked in on one target. Without hesitation, I gripped the rifle John handed me and pulled the trigger. Boom! A perfect shot. The boar dropped instantly, tumbling down the hillside like a sack of stone. The rest of the herd panicked, scattering wildly into the dense brush, disappearing into the cover of trees. And just like that, one shot, clean and precise, the moment was sealed. A flawless execution, backed by unwavering trust in my teammate. It wasn't just a hunt. It was a display of perfect coordination, timing, trust, and one bullet to tell the story. On the other side of the hill, James was having a rougher time. The wild boars, there were cunning, using the terrain to their advantage, ducking behind thick brush and tree stumps like living shields. Every shot he took was blocked, wasted. The chase dragged on, tense and relentless. It wasn't until his third consecutive shot that the boar finally went down, crashing hard to the ground, an end to what felt like an endless pursuit. And just like that, the destruction was over. The threat was neutralized. With the boars gone, the crops could thrive again, and the villagers, after so many sleepless nights, could finally rest easy. After a short break to regain our strength, the team moved down toward the grassy fields at the base of the hill. This was the kind of terrain where visibility was clear, perfect for tracking, stalking, and exploiting the natural habits of the prey. Here, patience and positioning were the keys. The hunt had entered a new phase. A shift in ground, a shift in tactics, but the mission remained the same: control, precision, and dominance over the wild. Clever as they are, wild boars are still creatures of habit, and that familiar trail they rely on became their fatal weakness. Suddenly, one burst out from the tree line, charging headfirst toward the open field. 3 rapid shots rang out. Gun smoke mixed with the barking of the hounds, and then the beast staggered and fell. A heart-pounding chase, sealed by a perfectly executed takedown. If you enjoyed that clean finish, don't forget to drop us a like. We pushed farther down into the wide open field below, and luck was on our side. A large, heavy boar was making a desperate run across the grassland, trying to escape. My instincts kicked in. Heart pounding, eyes locked in. I tracked its every move and squeezed the trigger, delivering a burst of hot lead straight toward our prize. 3 shots rang out. The boar dropped with a thud, bringing an end to a thrilling chase that tested every nerve. That moment right there, it wasn't just about firepower. It was the result of honed instincts, sharp reflexes, and years of disciplined training. When it comes to seasoned hunters like us, no target gets away. The team moved out to the open field, preparing to head back. In the quiet calm at the base of the hill, the hunting dogs suddenly erupted into a focused chase. From years of experience, I knew something was about to happen. Quickly, I raised my rifle and went straight ahead. Right at the forest's edge, the boar dashed out trying to make its escape. It was about to run straight into a well-placed ambush, and unlucky, I was that shooter. the second shot rang out, and the boar went down completely. A long, intense day finally came to an end, sealed a full victory for our hunting team. Today's success was the result of seamless teamwork, patience, and relentless determination. It wasn't just about hunting skills. This experience taught us a valuable lesson. In every mission, patience, keen observation, and effective coordination are the keys to protecting what matters most and achieving complete success. If you love thrilling hunts and want to join us on future adventures, don't forget to hit that like button and share. The early sunlight quietly touched the faded stone rooftops of Alberobello village. Dew still lingered on the grass. We left the village, rifles at the ready, walking slowly past the rosemary bushes along the path. Last night, wild boars had once again torn apart a field of young corn at the forest's edge. No one in the village slept in peace. Each harvest season here was a struggle, and we could no longer stand by watching them wreak havoc. Inside the forest, the wind blew gently. Click! The rifles were unlocked. The hunt had begun for the fields and for the peaceful sleep of the entire village. Come along with us on this journey. We followed the winding hoof prints from the last cornfield all the way to the forest's edge. The sun was just rising, golden light stretching across the damp, cold air. The silence was so deep that even the crunch of our boots on dry earth echoed. Sensing boars ahead in the thick grass, John said nothing. He straightened, raised his rifle, an instinct he had mastered long ago. The scope locked on. Breath held, trigger squeezed. A clean, decisive shot from a seasoned hunter. The beast stumbled, rolled once, and lay still. We advanced quietly, following a familiar path to the old watchtower we had built on a previous trip. Everything remained intact, enough for the group to settle without making a sound. We waited in silence, watching. As predicted by one of our most experienced hunters, a herd of wild boars emerged from the bushes. A shot rang out from John's rifle. The bullet cut through the air, striking the alpha boar dead on, ending its destruction in an instant. The herd panicked, scattering into the deep woods. From experience, hunters know boars usually hide deep in thick bushes, but once driven out by hounds, they have no choice but to appear. John and I set up at an old trail heavy with signs, ready for action. It didn't take long before a boar poked its snout out of the brush, mud still clinging to its legs. I fired immediately. The bullet struck its shoulder, bringing it down. Target secured. The group rested after a long chase through the dense forest. Tracks led us into the dry woods. Harsh sunlight, brittle fallen leaves everywhere. Every step echoed with a sharp crunch. I gripped my rifle tightly, ears straining. Another herd seemed to be nearby. The bushes trembled, then a boar charged straight at us. John didn't flinch. He chambered around, squeezed the trigger. The bullet flew through the air and struck true. A perfect shot. Breathtaking, wasn't it? At the same moment, Jack on the opposite side was locked onto another target. He calculated distance, speed, and angle, then fired. The threat was gone, and the harvest secured. Only a veteran hunter with such experience could execute shots that clean. From a distance, we spotted a lone boar wandering across the dry leaves, unaware of us. I steadied my rifle, eyes fixed through the scope. My breath slowed, finger tightened. The bullet sliced through the air, dropping the intruder instantly. As dusk fell, we decided to head home after an exhausting day. Suddenly, a boar burst out from the field. Without hesitation, we fired. Quick reflexes, deadly accuracy, not a single miss. A cold, flawless execution worthy of true hunters. And with that, another tense and dangerous hunt came to an end. Every morning on the farmlands of Texas, people's hearts sink at the sight of their crops destroyed overnight by wild boars. Tender corn crushed under heavy hooves, sugarcane fields torn apart, deep tracks gouged into the soil, scars of helplessness. They've tried everything: strong fences, traps, even loud noises to scare them off. Yet the aggressive herds always return, as if mocking every effort. And that very harsh reality is why we are here today, to step into a grueling hunt and reclaim peace for this land. Will we succeed? Follow along and witness the answer for yourself. At dawn in the southern forest, the silence is almost unsettling. We had already taken position in our ambush, ready for a challenging day ahead. Through the scope, Finn quickly spotted a massive wild boar lumbering in the distance. And in the blink of an eye, a precise shot dropped it, an explosive start to today's hunt. We pressed on along a trail covered in dry leaves, a narrow passage between two forests. David's experience told him this was a common path for boars, and today was no exception. The moment the prey bolted across, his gun thundered, cutting off its escape to the other side. But the bullet missed by a hair. The beast fled, leaving behind heavy breaths and a trace of regret for the whole team. A stark reminder, a split second of hesitation, and the balance can shift completely. Just then, a signal crackled over the radio from Thomas's team. They had found a target. The instant his eyes locked with the boar's, it was like a final farewell. His rifle roared. The boar sprang forward in panic, but only managed a few desperate steps before its bulky body tumbled down the slope, closing a breathless standoff. After an intense morning in the forest, we left the dry trees behind, climbed into the land cruiser, and continued toward the withered grasslands of the west. Here, wild boars often recklessly charge across open ground in search of escape, smashing through anything in their path. That made the hunt even more tense, demanding patience and nerve to squeeze the trigger at just the right moment. In the fading afternoon light, I stopped by a dirt road, tire marks still fresh on its surface. I knew this was the golden hour. The prey would be forced to reveal itself. And just as expected, a whole herd burst out. My shot rang, marking one to stay behind. That bullet not only ended a chase, but also drove the rest right into the trap my teammates had prepared ahead. Because a true master hunter doesn't just bring down prey, they control its fear to decide the course of the hunt. One bullet, but an entire battlefield decided. On the other side, John's team was ready to greet the hairy intruders. Following the tracks, he found one that had strayed from the herd, recklessly dashing into the dry grass field. John didn't rush. He waited calm and patient, watching every move. And when the moment came, one precise shot was enough. That's the mark of a seasoned hunter: composure, even when staring straight at the golden opportunity. By late afternoon, the sun cast scattered rays over the grassland, making the silence even heavier. I hid patiently behind a bush, waiting for the slightest mistake. Then came the chance, a quick pull of the trigger, and the bullet found its mark. The second boar, startled by the shot, bolted and barely escaped. No matter. Our paths will cross again. A day of hunting in Texas came to an end, filled with tension from the pre-dawn ambush in the dry forest to the fading light on the barren grassland. Every shot, every step carried the weight of protecting the people's livelihood against these destructive beasts. On every stretch of the journey, the powerful Toyota Land Cruiser stood by us. And though exhaustion set in after a long day, we knew our mission went beyond hunting. It was about safeguarding life here. Today's journey is just one chapter of a much larger story. Stay with us for more brutal hunts, heart-stopping moments, and victories that bring hope back to the people of Texas. They're not the silent lurkers in the shadows. Wild boars, ferocious beasts, are storming closer to human habitats, tearing through fields, destroying property, and threatening the safety of livestock and people alike. Against this backdrop, hunting trips are no longer just thrills or daring adventures. They're a vital stand to restore balance between humanity and nature. So, how will this relentless chase between man and these savage creatures end? Join us to witness the heart-pounding, high-stakes journey in today's gripping video. This trip plunged us into the rugged hills of America, a hotspot where wild boars roam rampant, wreaking havoc on local farmers' livelihoods. Armed to the teeth with rifles, camouflage gear, and GPS trackers, our crew dove deep into the forest, kicking off a thrilling hunt amidst untamed wilderness. Tiptoeing across the barren hillside, a sudden rustle from the brush ahead snapped me to attention. My gut screamed that the prey was lurking there. I steadied myself, raised my rifle, and tracked every flicker of movement. Seconds later, a dark mass exploded from the thicket like a bolt of lightning. Instinct kicked in, I squeezed the trigger. The gunshot shattered the eerie silence. The bullet flew true, striking its mark. The beast tumbled, rolling a few times before lying still on the cold ground. Venturing deeper into the desolate heart of the barren hill, I suddenly spotted another beast slinking through the brittle underbrush. Not letting the chance slip away, I swiftly took position, steadied my rifle, and locked onto the target. A single, precise shot rang out, the bullet slicing through the air and striking the prey's head dead on. It collapsed instantly, no chance to resist, the hunt over in mere seconds. My gunshot seemed to jolt the entire hillside awake. Just minutes later, a full-grown wild boar burst through a narrow rocky crevice. Without hesitation, I raised my rifle, took careful aim, and pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of the shot tore through the stillness, hitting the beast square in the shoulder. It stumbled, lost its momentum, and crashed to the ground. The hunt on the hill ended with hard-earned trophies claimed from the wild. Stepping away from the rugged hills, join us as we shift to a thrilling night hunt across the vast plains of America. Fully equipped with weapons, binoculars, and GPS, we're primed for a new, heart-pounding challenge under the stars. Rolling through the night in our pickup truck, the engine's roar echoed through the eerie silence, sending a chill through every breath. Spotting a target ahead, we swiftly closed in. Leaping from the truck, I raised my rifle and locked onto the prey. A clean shot rang out. The target dropped in an instant, utterly still. My gunshot sent the surrounding prey into a frenzy. From the shadowy brush, a beast bolted past mere inches from me, spiking the tension to a fever pitch. Determined not to let it escape, I gave chase and fired. The crack of the shot reverberated through the dark, shattering the night silence. The wild boar struck hard, crashed to the ground, skidding across the dew-soaked grass before lying completely still. This hunting trip drew to a close after hours of intense stalking and pinpoint-accurate takedowns in the untamed wilds of America. Every action was carried out in strict compliance with local hunting regulations in permitted areas.